A cold pint feels like the easiest little reward, but some of the biggest beers in the UK are built on shortcuts. And you feel it: heavier hangovers, rougher sleep, nastier aftertaste, and a chemical fine print you never agreed to. Most people blame age, or stress, or a bad night's sleep. But sometimes it's the beer itself. Today, we're exposing 7 UK beers to dodge and 2 clean pints to grab instead. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Coming in at number 7, Carling, this is the one that's basically wallpaper in British pubs. It's familiar, cheap and everywhere, which is exactly why it's dangerous in a quiet way. Because the ingredient panel tells a story most people never read. Carling includes glucose syrup alongside cereals like barley and wheat. Glucose syrup is a cost-cutting move, and you can taste it if you pay attention. That slightly sticky finish, that weird sweet edge that doesn't feel like proper malt. Now, take that sweetness and combine it with alcohol, and you've got a perfect recipe for a next-day headache you can't explain. The sugar-adjacent feel nudges you into drinking faster, your blood alcohol rises quicker, and your sleep gets wrecked even if you think you slept. Then you wake up dry-mouthed, puffy and foggy, like your brain got wrapped in cling film. The worst part is how normal it seems. You don't feel like you're taking a risk because it's Carling. It's the beer people drink when they're not even thinking about beer, and that's the trap. This isn't brewed to make you feel good, it's brewed to be poured fast, drank fast, and bought again. At number 6, Foster's. It sells you the whole sunny, laid-back vibe, like you're choosing something clean and easy, but here's what matters. Foster's aren't built like a careful beer. It's built like a product that has to taste identical, no matter where you buy it, who ships it, how long it sits, and how warm the stockroom gets. That's when the chemistry creep starts. Industrial lagers often lean on brewing shortcuts and stabilizing tricks to stay consistent, and the hangover you blame on age or stress can be the aftershock of that consistency game. And no, we're not talking about one magic, scary ingredient. We're talking about the whole pattern: cheaper fermentables, stripped down flavour, and a finish that makes you chase the next sip. And the beer goes down too easily, you overshoot your limit without noticing, and then your night flips. You get that wired, tired sleep, the kind where you're out, but not recovered. Next morning, thirst, stomach heaviness, and a headache that feels oddly sharp for how little you remember drinking. Foster's is a masterclass in drinkability that quietly turns into overconsumption. It's not the worst beer because it tastes horrible. It's worse because it tastes harmless. At number 5, Stella Artois. This one is the premium illusion beer. The branding, the glass, the way it's poured, it all tells your brain this is cleaner than the cheap stuff. But premium price does not equal premium inputs. And once you start thinking about contamination risk, you have to look upstream. A huge chunk of modern grain farming relies on herbicides, and the glyphosate conversation is the one the beer industry hates because it instantly kills the romance. Glyphosate is classified by the WHO's Cancer Agency, IARC, as probably carcinogenic to humans, a hazard classification used by toxicologists. Regulators argue over real-world risk at low exposures, and you'll hear plenty of confident voices telling you it's fine. But here's the point. You can't dodge. You don't buy Stella because you want to gamble on residues in the grain supply chain. You buy Stella because you think you're getting something sharper and more refined. And if that refinement is sitting on top of the same modern agriculture realities as everything else, then what are you paying for? Stella becomes the beer you drink when you want to feel like you made a better choice, while your body still has to process the same kind of chemical baggage you were trying to. That's why the hangover feels so unfair with this one. It's not supposed to hit like that, yet it does. At number 4, Budweiser. This one survives on legacy and scale. It's engineered to be consistent and mild, which sounds safe until you realize mild can still be chemically complicated. Budweiser's brewing is famously built around adjunct grains like rice, and the brand has publicly defended its use of corn syrup during fermentation by saying it's consumed by the yeast and doesn't end up in the final beer. Even if you accept that argument, you still can't ignore what it signals. The recipe is designed around cheap efficiency, not ingredient purity. And again, the bigger problem sits upstream. When grain supply chains are huge and industrial, you're exposed to modern farming chemistry whether you asked for it or not. Glyphosate is the flashpoint because of that IARC classification. And here's the hangover reality. Bud is so so easy to drink that you rack up alcohol without feeling it. It's the beer that makes people say I barely drank, while the empty cans say something else. And the next morning you pay for the speed and volume. Budweiser isn't the punch-in-the-face beer. It's a slow count beer, the one that sneaks you over the line. At number 3, Corona Extra. This is the clearest example of packaging, making your drink worse before you even open it. Corona's iconic clear bottle looks clean, bright, beachy. It also lets light in, and when beer gets hit with UV and visible light, you can trigger the classic light-struck reaction that creates the skunky compound 3-methyl-2-butene-1-thiol, often shortened to 3-MBT. That smell people joke about is not a harmless little quirk, it's chemistry changing the drink. Now add the real-life version. Bottles sitting under shop lights, warm storage, long shipping. Then you finally crack it open and pretend it's still a fresh beach fantasy. You feel it. Light-damaged beer can taste harsher, smell harsher, and land heavier, especially if you already deal with reflux, acidity, or that sensitive gut feeling that shows up the next day after drinking. Corona is the beer that sells you an image and hands you a compromised product. And when the flavor's off, people compensate. They drink faster, they throw in citrus, they ignore the warning signals, then the hangover shows up. At number 2, San Miguel. This is the imported aura trap. You see the branding, you assume it's cleaner, and your guard drops. But look at what San Miguel Premium Lager is actually sold as in the UK. The ingredient list includes maize, and it even lists hop extract. That combo is how you engineer a lager to be ultra smooth and ultra consistent. Adjunct grains like maize are widely used in brewing, specifically as partial substitutes for malt and as extra carbohydrate sources. Brewing research is blunt that cost-cutting is one of the core reasons adjuvants took over modern beer production. And hop extract is not the same thing as hopping a beer normally. It's a processed bittering product built around isoalpha acids, designed for repeatable bitterness and stability from batch to batch. Now here's where your body gets tricked. A beer that goes down this easily is the beer that turns 1 pint into 3, because nothing in the flavour tells you to slow down. More alcohol means more acetaldehyde in your system, and acetaldehyde is a well-known driver behind the ugly side of drinking, including hangover symptoms and headache. Add the sleep hit on top. Research links alcohol use with poorer sleep quality, so you wake up with heavy eyes and that wiped out feeling, even if you were in bed all night. And yes, hangovers commonly come with dehydration and headaches, so the dry mouth and dull skull throb aren't random. And at number 1, the one we want you to stop treating as harmless just because it's familiar, Greene King IPA. You order it like it's a safe pub default, then you end up drinking it in pub quantities. 2 pints becomes 4, and suddenly you're not talking about flavour anymore, you're talking about load. Your liver has to break alcohol down into acetaldehyde, and that compound is a big driver behind the classic hangover symptoms: headache, nausea, racing heart, that rough, sweaty 4 a.m. wake-up feeling. Now stack on another modern reality most people never factor in: packaging exposure. If you're drinking from cans, epoxy can linings have historically been a major source of BPA exposure in food contact materials. And EFSA's 2023 re-evaluation massively tightened the tolerable daily intake due to updated safety thresholds. That doesn't mean one can ruin your life, and it means you should stop pretending repeated exposure is irrelevant just because it's normal. Greene King IPA is the beer you drink in volume, which is exactly when volume-based risks start to matter. Now the 2 clean pints, not perfect, not magic, just brewed in a way that looks more like beer and less like a factory product. The first clean pick is Adnams Southwold Bitter. This is the kind of beer that doesn't need tricks to feel satisfying. It leans on the basics: malt, hops, yeast, water. When a brewery keeps the recipe closer to the core, you feel it in the drink. The pint has weight without syrupy sweetness. The finish doesn't nag you. And because it isn't engineered to be a fizzy nothing, you're less likely to drink it like water. That matters. The cleanest hangover prevention isn't some detox tea. It's drinking slower, because your drink actually has character, and you're not chasing the next gulp. With a traditional bitter, 1 pint can genuinely feel like a pint, not like the opening act. And when you drink less volume, you reduce the things that make you feel awful: dehydration, sleep disruption, that acetaldehyde spike. The goal here is simple. Choose a beer that tastes like real ingredients, so you stop drinking like you're trying to find the flavour. And the top clean pick is Timothy Taylor Landlord. This is the gold standard kind of pub beer when you want proper brewing over shortcuts. The profile is balanced, the bitterness feels natural, and the malt body tastes built, not faked. This is the opposite of the glucose syrup vibe. It doesn't leave that candy-sweet shadow on your tongue. It doesn't push you into the next sip like you're trying to outrun a bland finish. It rewards slow drinking, and that alone changes the night. 1 or 2 pints of something like Landlord is a different experience than 4 pints of a thin industrial lager. You sleep better, your mouth isn't a desert in the morning, your head feels lighter, and the most important part, you're choosing a beer where the selling point is the brewing, not the branding. That's always a safer place to start. If this made you rethink what you order at the pub, subscribe now. Drop the beer that hits you with the worst hangover in the comments. And next time you're choosing a pint, choose like your body has to live with it, because it does.